This is 2022's House of Darkness. Warning, spoilers ahead. We start off with the most ominous piano music you've ever heard, and we focus on a pile of used shoes in an underground area. Next, Hap drives through the gate of Mina's estate, and he drives her up to the house where he parks. The two of them awkwardly make small talk, and Hap can't help but feel uneasy about the sounds all around them. Mina just tells him that the wind starts to sound like something else thanks to the isolation of the area. The more Hap talks, the more he seems to be working himself into a hole. But he does his best to save his chances with Mina. He makes it known that he's not very comfortable being so far from civilization, but he continues trying to move forward with Mina. As they walk up to the house, Mina points out that she's been taking the lead on everything so far in the night, and Hap tries to point out that he loves how straightforward she is. He thinks that it's refreshing to find a woman that doesn't bother playing games, and they move right into what they want. When he looks at her house, he sees that the house is essentially a castle, and he can't believe that Mina lives there alone. Mina points out that the castle has been in her family for years, and she questions if Hap was wondering if she could get a place like this on her own. He tries to dance around the question, and he tells her that they should head inside to talk about it. Mina realizes that Hap is cold, but she says that she's not really feeling the same way. Once inside, the electricity goes out for a moment, and Hap asks if this is going to put a damper on their night. Mina assures him that this doesn't change a thing, and she'll just go ahead and light them a fire. She walks away, leaving Hap alone, and he awkwardly makes his way into the living room where Mina is lighting a fire. Just then, Hap looks down a hallway, and he thinks that he spots a silhouette in the mirror. When Mina asks him who he's calling out to, he tells her that he sees someone, but when he turns back, the figure's gone. Mina tells him that the house is full of memories, but she assures him that there was no one in the hallway. The more Mina talks, the more Hap feels like he's being put on the spot. After stating that, Mina actually does put him on the spot by calling him a liar. Hap covers his tracks by saying that he just likes little white lies, but he swears that he won't lie to Mina tonight. When the conversation goes stale, Hap tries to see if Mina wants to move this to the couch or the floor, and she agrees to the couch. She immediately gets up to make them drinks, but Hap stops her before she leaves. He asks her about the castle, and Mina tells him that her family has multiple estates all over the country. Now that that's settled, Mina leaves to make them drinks, and Hap looks around in amazement of where he is. Suddenly, his phone dings, and he calls his friend to tell him about how he managed to get to Mina's place. His friend thinks that he's lying, but Hap points out that Mina was the one that asked him to come there. Hap's standing here going on and on about how his friend should have gone after Mina first, but he didn't even do anything. Mina sought him out and brought him there. He's got some high hopes for the night, but of course, he's gonna talk smack to his friend who's still alone at the bar. I feel like by the end of the movie, he'll wish that he had switched spots. Just then, Hap hears the house creak, and he calls out to the darkness. No one answers, and he goes back to his phone call. His friend tries to talk him into sending pictures or the address, and Hap tells him that he wouldn't tell him even if he knew where he was. Once he finishes up the call, he takes off his jacket to get more comfortable, and he spots Mina standing in the doorway with drinks. After toasting to each other, they take a seat on the couch again. The two of them lean in to kiss, and Hap tells her what a great kisser she is. When he leans in to kiss her again, Mina asks him if he was talking to someone while she was making them drinks. He tells her that he got a text from a friend, but when she keeps saying that she heard his voice, he tells her that he did indeed call him. She asks him if he's actually married, and he assures her that that wasn't what he was on the phone about. He could just show her on his phone. He's stumbling on his own words trying to lie, but he's just ending up telling her exactly what happened. But then Mina notices that he never answered if he was married, and she pushes. She's a quick one. I completely thought that his workaround answer was just alluding to him being single. Nope, he's separated. He promises her that they're legally separated, and he assures her that whatever they end up doing is completely legal. Mina asks him if this is morally okay, and he tells her that they shouldn't feel bad about any of this. As they get technical about who approached who, Hap gets a little defensive when she points out that he approached her, but when she reminds him of his cheesy pickup line, he can't deny it. And it's cheesy. Hey, you don't know me, but I think you should. Finger guns and all. Oh, have you heard of anything cheesier? After settling how cheesy he was, Mina brings him in close for another kiss. And while they kiss, Mina seems to nip Hap's lip. Then she proceeds to suck the blood from his lip. When Hap goes in to keep kissing, Mina tells him that he's so strong, and he calls her a little bunny. What? Who does that? Who tells the person they picked up at the bar that they're just a little bunny? When Mina tells him that he could do whatever he wanted to her and she couldn't stop him, Hap starts to believe her words. She tells him to have his way with her and make her disappear, but he tells her that she shouldn't talk to people like that. He assures her that he's a good guy though, and he can't seem to get a handle on Mina. Suddenly, a sound comes from elsewhere in the castle, and Hap hops to his feet. Hap isn't having it anymore with the sounds though, and he asks Mina if someone else is there. Then he realizes that he never asked her if she was married. She assures him that he isn't married, and Hap breathes a sigh of relief. Then Mina checks to see if Hap wants to do more to her. and he claims that she's just teasing him now. This has been the longest tease. I'm still sitting here wondering how we've taken 35 minutes to get a belt buckle undone. Surprised no one's fallen asleep yet. As Mina unbuckles Hap's belt, he agrees that he wants much more to happen tonight, and he lets her start to pull his pants down. Suddenly, Lucy appears and says hello. Hap jumps to his feet and apologizes to Lucy for what they were about to do, and Lucy asks him why he's sorry about it. Mina introduces the two of them, and Lucy assures Hap that he shouldn't feel embarrassed about anything. Hap tries to excuse himself from the house, but Mina begs him to stay for another drink. To make him feel better, Lucy agrees to share a drink with him as well. Mina goes off to make the drinks, and Hap keeps apologizing for what's going on. Lucy assures him that everything's okay and she didn't see anything. Lucy sits down to ask Hap how he knows Mina, and he gives her an awkward rundown of the night. When he's done, Lucy tells him that this was supposed to be her night to go out. But she just knows that Mina would be like that and take her turn. Hap finds this to be odd, and he assumes that it's because of the power going off in the castle. He tells her that they should get a generator, and he tells her a story about his family cabin and how they had to have a generator. Just then, the lights come back on, and Lucy goes to check on Mina. Hap sits and waits, and he finishes his drink. Once it's done, he grabs Mina's drink and finishes it as well. Within seconds, he passes out, and after that, he wakes up in the underground area. He's tied to a chair, and he calls out for anyone to help him. Obviously, no one comes to his aid, and he struggles his way out of his bonds. After he flips the chair, he spots a woman in the distance, and he calls out to her. When he turns away, the woman disappears, and he goes back to focusing on his restraints. Eventually, the rope snaps, and he frees himself from the chair. Once he's on his feet, he tries to get his bearings, and he wanders off through the underground area. He comes across an old burned car and some used shoes, but there's no trace of Mina or Lucy. Soon he comes across a pile of shoes, but right after, he finds an opening that should lead to the surface. He tries to run up the steep incline, but he falls and breaks his leg. Why did he try to run up the hill? Those are obviously loose rocks, and he's not being chased by anything. I'll be the first to run if something's chasing me, but otherwise, there's no need for that nonsense. There wasn't even a small tumble, he straight up flipped down the hill and has his bone poking out. Just then, Hap wakes up on the couch, and he finds Lucy staring at him next to him. She asks him if he's okay, and he assures her that it was just a bad dream. He realizes that Mina isn't back yet, but Lucy assures him that she'll be back soon. Hap tries to make conversation by asking about the other estates, but Lucy pretty much leaves the conversation at that. Lucy asks him if he wants to see more of the house, and he agrees to a tour. After walking for a while, Hap has to stop and catch his breath, and he asks Lucy about his chances with Mina. Lucy tells him that Mina actually likes him, and Hap apologizes for the situation with his pants down earlier. Then they get to the final stop on the tour, and Hap looks out from the balcony. He asks Lucy what she and Mina do to pass the time up here, and she tells him that it's nothing out of the ordinary. When she mentions that they tell each other ghost stories, Hap remembers a time when he used to love those. He tells her that he's not too into ghost stories himself, but he asks her if she knows any good ones. Lucy tells him that she doesn't want to impose on his date, and he tells her that he and Mina aren't actually on a date. Hap tries to assure her that they weren't on a date, and he tries to play her up a little more than Mina. Then she points out that he was drunk driving Mina home, and he tries to play it down a bit. Not only does Hap find a way to make things as awkward as possible with one beautiful woman, but he pulls it off shortly after with yet another one, her sister at that. Oh, it's painful to watch. Hap brings the conversation back to ghost stories, and Lucy agrees to tell him one. Just as she starts, Mina interrupts them with drinks, and she apologizes for taking too long. Mina tells them that she set things up in the real living room, and they head inside to get more comfortable. When they come to the living room, the electricity goes out, and Mina tells Hap to tell them a story first. Hap keeps getting himself caught in little lies, but Lucy brings the conversation back by asking him to make up a little fib story. He decides to make up a little story that's based off of this night, and the ending of the story is nothing like what the girls are wanting. Hap's really starting to lose it at this point. I can't tell if it's because he's sexually frustrated, drunk, or just this kind of person. There was a little hope for this character in the beginning, but that's all out the window now. Mina tells Hap that Lucy is the storyteller and she plays the games. Mina swears to play games with him later, and Lucy tells a fairy tale about a girl that was taken by force by a group of men in a village. The girl was left for dead, but two girls found her and brought her to their castle to nurse her back to health. When the girl was back to her strong self, they all went back to the village, found the men that committed the crime, and finished them off. Lucy says that they tied the men up in caves and broke their bones, and Hap can't believe the similarities to his dream. Lucy says that the girls made their way to this town, and they were continuing their mission. Hap's face is hilarious here. He literally looks like this ghost story has touched his soul. But he is still game to get down and dirty with the sisters. Hap says he's lucky that there are only two of them, but suddenly, Nora appears behind him. I jumped as soon as she popped up. Hap gets a pass for that scare. My heart rate climbed at least 20 points. The sisters can't believe that Hap still can't see what's going on, but he tries to point out that they're targeting him because he's a pervert. He tries to pull Mina to the side, but she tells him that he can't say anything in front of the others. Suddenly, Mina gets the idea to play a game, but Hap has had enough of the night. Finally, it took him this long to decide that a little hanky-panky wasn't worth it. Hap gets ready to go, but Nora tries to warn him that he's never going home again. He doesn't understand why they decided to target him, but he doesn't appreciate his night being wasted. He makes his way to the front door, but he finds that it's locked. He comes back to the sisters, and he warns them that they need to open the door, or he'll knock them across the room. None of the sisters move, but the door creaks open. Well, that's a trap. Look at Mina. She can't help but have a good time with this. When Hap goes to leave, Mina appears on the other side, and she takes a bite out of Hap. He falls to the ground, and the three sisters gather to play hide and seek. Hap tries to crawl away, but the sisters are right on his tail. Ugh! Well, this got graphic real quickly. Let's just say that Hap didn't get a happy ending. The end. This was definitely an interesting pick. It ramped up the tension, and by the end of the movie, you're definitely rooting for the sisters to pull through. Definitely give it a shot. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more like this one. Comment what you think I should watch next, and I'll see you in the next video.